All right. We are back. If you're just joining us, this is the afternoon show with ServiceNow Security, and we are in the middle of an incident response showdown between security operations as run by Harold Byun and soon-to-be Rich Reybok, and Chad, the most confident security analyst in the world, who's looking a little less confident right now. All right, well, we'll get to Chad in a moment, but I think now's probably a pretty good time to bring out our next guest. He is the head of engineering for the security business unit. Rich Reybok, everybody. Rich.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, what's up, man?
So, Rich, I'm sure most people here don't know, but you were CTO at Brightpoint Security, which was the company that ServiceNow acquired about a year ago. A lot of what you're about to show us was actually originally conceived there. And you've been a chief information security officer. You've been an operations guy on the security side. So you're missing the hoodie that Chad clearly has, which demonstrates his prowess. But other than that, you've got some pretty good background. What's getting you motivated every day?
Yeah. So first, it's been a great year. Joining ServiceNow and having a great team, behind us there in Santa Clara, San Diego, and San Francisco, meeting all you great guys. It's been awesome. And what motivates me is having this opportunity. You're going to see some cool stuff here I'm going to demo in a moment, but really tapping into the collective power in this room, in the security community, to help balance the equation that we're losing right now relative to security. The bad guys are collaborating. They're working together. They're sharing source code. They're building botnets. I'm kind of by myself. You had those lights on you this morning. It was pretty powerful. And that's how we feel sometimes. And we want to change that. And I think we've created some really cool technology to do that, and I'm really excited kind of to show it off today.
It seems personal for you almost.
I've been through some pain, a lot of investigations over the years, and so I know what people are going through, and I want to help, and I think we're helping, and ServiceNow is uniquely positioned with the platform to be able to do it.
Great. Well, let's see.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about trusted security circles. Without the lights going out, maybe this time.
Do it, yeah.
That was pretty fun to do, though. If I think about threat sharing, right? What I hear from customers is, I'm having a real challenge with just getting information from others in any kind of a reliable, repeatable way. What really brought you to focus in on this problem?
Well, again, it was to tap into the knowledge, and so the problem with threat intelligence today is it's background noise. I don't know if it's relevant to me. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it's about these types of infrastructures that I have. If I'm in healthcare, how do I know that this threat intelligence relates to, the pacemaker monitor server that I've got sitting in my data center? It could be anything. And so trying to get to that relevancy from an automation standpoint, make it actionable was really important.
Right, and then of course the anonymity piece of it is super key as well.
Yeah, can't be on a blog. Right? I'm trying to keep myself off the blog to begin with the attack, and so if I share and I communicate, and it somehow comes back to me, well, I've made the problem worse. And so finding ways to beat all of that and make it available is what we've been doing.
And correct me if I'm wrong there, Rich. I mean, in addition to the anonymity, we also have a method to suppress which threat indicators you would actually share. So any registered IP space or domain name variants that identify you as a company, we can suppress those from actually being shared out.
That's right. Look, you're in control. So you decide what gets shared, you decide how it gets shared, and how much gets shared. So you're always maintaining that this is where it's coming from, it's not going to come back to me kind of aspect of it.
Great. Well, why don't you show us?
Let me show you. Yeah, so the cool thing was, I may not have seen it earlier in Harold's demo, but as part of that orchestration, he actually shared with me the indicators relative to the attack that Piero launched. So thank you for that. And so I've already got a head start. I've got an incident sitting in my queue that's high priority. It's relevant to me, and it's something I can immediately jump into. And I would have been blind if I hadn't been part of this product and of this service. And so could it be 209 days before I find this? I know now because I've leveraged the capabilities that Harold's team had, and I've embedded it in my team.
I mean, it's almost like Harold's investigation you inherited at no cost to you. And in fact, when I mean no cost, I mean truly no cost in that not only did you get the indicator for free, right? But you also didn't have to sift through a portal or a big email inbox filled with potential shares that may or may not even be relevant to your organization.
That's right. Let me show you. So if I click into the incident, and go down to the bottom here. All the similar types of things that happened from an orchestration standpoint earlier with Harold, it's part and parcel of how I operate. It's not a new process. I don't have to learn the product differently. It just becomes how I operate. This collaborative incident response model becomes the new way for SOCs to operate. And so I can see here, these are the indicators of attack, the IP addresses, the URLs, the hashes, the malware. I get the specifics that I need, that my team needs to be able to actually orchestrate the remediations.
Excellent, excellent. So what do you need to do now? Do you need to actually share that out?
Yeah, well, the first part is, I've said this earlier, but I want to be really clear. We're only showing you things that are relevant to you. And so we're leveraging now the bidirectional sharing that comes in Jakarta, rather than the bidirectional searching that comes in Jakarta, where we can go out and hunt in your environments to try to find the relevant CIs, relevant assets that are actually under attack, and present them to you. And so, we've been able to show that here. I've got 8,000 of these things running around my network. They're on the CIs that I own. I can go respond.
Great. So you're only going to see that pop up on your end if it's relevant to you. Right. So we all are in some big trusted security circle together. You share out. Only the folks who have that IOC present in their environment are going to even be alerted, right? So it's got a natural filter built in.
Yep.
Yeah, and this really also gives you the sense of internal and external prevalence, right? And so if there's only an internal prevalence or footprint for those indicators and none of the peers or the circles have seen it, it's either a false positive or a targeted attack, right? So, I mean, it's a good information and context to have.
So let me show you. So Harold shared automatically as part of the workstation. I'd like to show everybody, how we would do this manually, what that would look like. So we spent a lot of time on the anonymization of the incident, of the sharing. Again, we can't show up on a blog. And so Harold didn't know me. I didn't know Harold. That sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it sounds really good, actually.
But I'm part of his trusted circle. In this example, I'm part of this finance trusted circle. So I'm with others that run similar types of infrastructures, similar types of applications that are facing similar attacks, context and relevancy. If I know what's likely to come to me, well, I have a better chance of actually building the relevant defenses. And so I choose my trusted circle. Again, you can create your own trusted circles for your own environments if you chose. And then context is important. So don't just send me an email with a bunch of IP addresses and URLs. Why am I getting this? What's it about? What have you already discovered about this? And so I can provide some context to who I'm sending it to. This is what it looks like. This is where it's coming from. And this is what I found.
You're the fastest typer I've ever seen, by the way.
Light speed, Sean. Light speed.
Okay.
So
all right.
The other benefit from this is, and it turns out Piero is actually pretty sneaky.
It's the beard.
Yeah, I haven't shaved in 3 weeks. Is as we see different parts of the attack, right? I might be in the exfiltration stage while Harold's in the reconnaissance stage. So I've learned some new things about this attack. He actually launched it from multiple locations. And so I'm adding to what the community already knows with new information. So Harold is actually going to be able to take this a step further and begin to remediate at his end. And this is how we shrink from 209 days. This is how we shrink from 70 days. I'm solving the entire attack as it moves and morphs underneath me, kind of at the same time.
So wait a minute. So Harold did this automated investigation. Then he made a decision, automatically remediated it, shared it with you. You then did your own investigation, found it in your environment, found that there were actually aspects of it that Harold didn't know about. You shared back with him, and now he's going to be able to respond more effectively.
Yep, collaborative incident response.
That sounds pretty good.
Level on the playing field.
All right. Well, I feel like it's time to check in with the most confident security analyst in the world.
I can't wait. I like that sweatshirt, by the way.
Chad.
Sean. Bro. I'm not a magician. These things take time. IT called finance, finance called IT, and nobody knows about these boxes. No one can find them.
What do you mean?
Not to mention, you guys using some new variant I've never seen before, so I got to get on the horn and call my buddies and find out, who's using it, who's seen it. So we're making progress.
Are you making progress?
This is how it goes, man. That's why we put in the hours.
So you're having trouble getting resolution on who owns the boxes that have been infected by Hailstorm, and you're also having trouble getting any context on this variant with your buddies.
Someone will know.
Okay. Well, how you feeling about that beard, Piero?
There's no way that beard's real.
Okay, the beard can't be real. All right, I'll let you get. Oh, he's already gotten back to it. All right.
Hey, Sean, let's also not forget, he's working on the wrong attack still.
That's right. He's still working on the wrong attack. All right. So clearly, I think it was maybe an unfair fight to compete with manual IR processes. But Chad seemed so confident. It really.
And he's by himself.
He's all by himself right now. So, why don't we keep going? What's next? So, vendor risk management.
Yeah.
CJ announced that, and I'm sure everybody was intrigued. But it feels like we've just changed topics pretty dramatically. Is that true?
Not at all. This is all connected. And so when we talk about incident response, when we talk about collaboration, well, it extends beyond my firewall now. My data isn't no longer just in my protected enclave in my data center. I've got API services. I've got cloud services. I've got vendors. My vendors have cloud and API services. And so my responsibility hasn't changed as the CISO. I still have to protect into that cloud. And so what vendor risk management is about is enabling me to actually have this two-way conversation in a nice, simple, easy way with my supply chain so that I can actually protect my entire ecosystem.
And I can tell you what I hear from customers that I talk to. I hear about problems with scale, right? We've got telcos that have tens of thousands of vendors, and it's very common for any organization to have hundreds of vendors, and they all need to be assessed. So just the problem of the scale is a big challenge. Then there's the challenge of responding. I don't know if folks here have dealt with dealing with the dreaded 12-tab, 1,200-row SIG document that you have to fill out in Excel. This is a daunting task. So how do we make that a lot easier? And then lastly, when you're dealing with so many questions, so many vendors, how do you actually think about risk? How do you rationalize any of that?
Yeah. So let me show you.
Okay.
So as part of that last attack, it turns out that there was actually a vulnerability that PRO was taking advantage of. And I had to patch to remediate. Well, I need to make sure that my supply chain is also patching as well. Bad guys are like electricity. They're going to follow the path of least resistance. And if it's easier to get my data, my assets, my IP by going through a supplier, well, that's where they're going to go. In fact, we've actually seen that over the past several years, a number of high-profile attacks that have happened. And so, oftentimes we'll put compliance language in our contracts with our suppliers, specifically around things like patching and best practices for security. So that's what I'm going to key off of here. My suppliers know that they've got a patch when high mission-critical events or patches rather are released out into the public. And so I'm going to communicate that. And so we make it really easy. We start with a nice template. This is something that happens pretty often. Software gets vulnerable. We've got to do patching. So I've set up already to repeatedly do this in my products. And so I'm going to give them a bit of information. I'm getting some data about the patch, where it is, where they can find out data. We also allow for bidirectional responses with different type of information. So I'm going to make this simple, and I'm really just going to ask, hey, did you patch? And then I need some evidence. But I can put multiple choice questions in here. I can ask for free-form fields. I can get as simple or as complex as I want to have in terms of the interaction with my suppliers. And so here I'm asking a yes/no question. Again, a bit more data. Save it. And I'm ready to go.
Wait, so you built an entire assessment for this new capability, this new challenge that you're dealing with. This is different than sharing, right? What Harold and you were sharing, that was sort of just designed to make it better for everybody. But this is you actively saying, I need to assess a particular set of vendors on this specific question.
Not an email, not with spreadsheets, not trying to track down who to talk to. Well, look, we talked about minutes and hours earlier. This is how we get things down to minutes.
All right, so how do you actually send the assessment?
Yeah, so in vendor risk management, we actually allow you to tier your vendors. Not all vendors are equal. Some might have my HIPAA data, others might have my PCI data. And so for this specific incident, I want to address those which are most critical. And so we have that. Here's my critical vendors. And it's based on risk and calculations, a number of different inputs that you can put into the product. And so as we see here, I've got about 8 critical vendors. Let's go. Let's get them the assessment. So I'm going to select them all. I'm going to send them an assessment template, the one I just created, and I'm done. I have now addressed my supply chain with, hey, where are you on this?
Nice, very nice. So what does that look like from the vendor's perspective?
Yeah, so I'm going to actually switch now and pretend I'm a vendor. I'm one of my suppliers and show you what this new great portal looks like.
So you're now the vendor responding to the assessment you just sent.
That's right.
Okay.
And bam. modern age, visible portal. We talked a lot about it. CJ talked a lot about it in the keynote this morning. Making this easy to use, simple, the experience that a supplier has, make that better. They're partners. We want them to work together with us. And so, email is not so friendly, it's disengaging. This now creates a closer relationship to us. So I can see here that I've got an assessment that's come in. Cool. Oh, vulnerability patch. Okay, I get this a lot. And oh yeah, I saw this on a blog. I saw this on MSNBC. I know what I need to do here. I've got a really great IT team behind me that uses ServiceNow, and so I know they've done the work. So I'm going to say, absolutely, I have patched. Oh, you want evidence? Okay, let me attach that scan data that we have. Select it. Done my work, good job. And I'm going to send it back to the enterprise. That's it, I'm done.
Wow, that is fantastic. So the entire assessment process is really just a modern web interface that the vendor can deal with. Do they need to be a ServiceNow customer to use this?
That's the beauty of this. And so when you buy this for your enterprise, your suppliers are able to use the portal directly. They'll get a nice email for registration, and this becomes their interaction point with you going forward. They don't have to be customers.
And then the main point of contact at the vendor can actually invite other folks to join as well to help answer some of these lengthier assessments.
Absolutely. I could have easily, shift this over to my CIO or my compliance manager for them to respond to, so I can delegate tasks out internally into my own company as needed.
Great.
Yeah, and this also actually will support any custom assessment as well as the industry standard SIG assessments, so we can ingest that. We actually have those embedded out of the box, but if you have a custom assessment, you use what Rich was designing on the fly, and you can use this to assess pretty much your entire supplier network.
Fantastic. So now I would imagine, we need to see sort of how the assessment went with all these vendors.
Oh, that's right. Look, I want to work the problem, not the process here. And so what I want to do is be able to go back and see, well, how's my supply chain doing? And so I can see here right in the middle, I've got a nice chart. And so it's a simplistic example, but it gives you the highlight of work the problem. I have 2 vendors that actually haven't patched. I have 2 vendors that are non-compliant and created now risk for my entire organization. This is where I'm going to put my resources. This is where I'm going to spend my time resolving them instead of trying to track down the emails, the spreadsheets, reading through all that for all the suppliers that I've been talking to. So quick, actionable, get you to the problem as fast as we can.
That is fantastic. What do you guys think? So just to summarize, because a lot just happened in a very short period of time, Harold started by finding the right attack, the one that was affecting his critical infrastructure. He then automated the investigation so he didn't waste any time getting data. He made an informed decision, found additional infections, executed a remediation directly to a Palo Alto firewall, integrated with the IT process, shared the indicator. Another organization got the indicator, was able to respond in a similar way, found additional challenges with this particular attack that he was able to share back with Harold, and then went and proactively ensured that his critical vendors were able to deal with the same challenge. This feels like the future of security. You guys agree? So we got to take a break, but before we do, I feel like we've got to check back in with Chad. No, Chad? Okay. All right, Chad doesn't want to talk. We're gonna let him keep going. Actually, I think it's probably fair, only fair, to declare victory here. So, Rich, why don't you come on up and accept on behalf of Team ServiceNow? Well done, sir.
Thank you.
So, where else can folks see you at the conference?
Yeah, so right after this, over in room 310, we're going to do a deep dive and a presentation on the security trusted circles, and then we have presentations on vendor risk management and a number of labs later today, kind of spread out throughout the conference center. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody there.
Awesome. Well, Rich Reybok, everybody.